I was sitting on my porch that Tuesday morning, coffee in hand, watching the sun break through the oak trees in my yard, when my phone buzzed. It was a text from my daughter, Emma. "Dad, call me when you get a chance. James needs to talk to you about the lake house." The lake house. Those 3 words made me smile. The property had been my pride and joy for nearly 15 years, a cozy 3-bedroom cabin on Lake Champlain that my late wife Sarah and I had bought as our retirement dream. After she passed 4 years ago, I'd thrown myself into maintaining it, partly as therapy, partly because it held so many memories of our life together. The sound of her laughter on the dock, the smell of her blueberry pancakes on Sunday mornings, the way she'd read mystery novels in the hammock while I fished. When James and his wife Monica had their son Dylan 2 years ago, I'd offered them the place for family getaways. "Use it whenever you want," I'd told them. "It's just sitting there empty most of the time. A house should have life in it." James had been so grateful, hugging me tight. "Dad, this means everything to us. Dylan's going to make so many memories there, just like I did growing up." I called Emma back immediately. "Hey, sweetheart, what's up with your brother?" There was a pause. "He didn't tell you himself?" "Tell me what?" Another pause, longer this time. "Dad, maybe you should call James directly. I don't want to get in the middle of this." A cold finger of worry traced down my spine. "Emma, what's going on?" "He said he needed to talk to you about making some changes with the lake house. Something about it not working out the way they planned." Her voice was tight, controlled. "Just call him, okay?" I tried James 3 times. Each call went to voicemail. Finally, at noon, he texted back. "Busy with clients. We'll call you tonight." Tonight? Why did everything bad in life require waiting until tonight? I spent the afternoon trying to distract myself. I mowed the lawn. I organized my tool shed. I alphabetized my spice rack, for God's sake. Nothing worked. That text from Emma kept echoing in my head. Not working out the way they planned. What the hell did that mean? At 7:15, my phone finally rang. "Dad, hey." James's voice had that careful, rehearsed quality I recognized from his courtroom work. He was a corporate attorney, successful and sharp. Right now, he sounded like he was about to present an unfavorable settlement. "James, what's going on with the lake house?" "Right. So, Monica and I have been talking, and we think it's time to formalize our arrangement." "Formalize?" "Yeah, put some structure around it. We've been using the place pretty regularly, and we've put a lot of work into it. New furniture, upgraded the kitchen, landscaped the yard. Monica's practically redesigned the whole interior." I blinked. "I didn't ask you to do any of that." "We know, Dad, but we wanted to make it nice. For Dylan. For family gatherings." He cleared his throat. "The thing is, we've been covering all the utilities, the property taxes, maintenance costs. It's been adding up, almost $3,000 a month." My hand tightened on the phone. "I paid the property taxes. I'd been paying them since I bought the place." "James, I pay the property taxes." "Well, there are other expenses. And Monica thinks we think it makes sense to establish some kind of formal agreement. Maybe we take over ownership, handle everything, and you'd have unlimited visiting rights, of course. Like a permanent guest." The words hit me like a slap. A permanent guest, in the house I own. "Dad, don't make this a big thing. We're trying to be practical here. You never use it anyway." "I used it last month." "For what, 2 days?" "Dad, we're there every other weekend. Dylan considers it his second home. We're the ones maintaining it, improving it, making it a place the family actually wants to be." Something in his tone, that casual dismissiveness, as if my ownership, my memories, my investment, meant nothing, made my chest tighten. "Let me get this straight. You want me to sign over my property because you've been using it and spending money on it that nobody asked you to spend?" "It's not like that." "Then what is it like, James?" Silence. "Then, Monica thinks we should either formalize the ownership or stop using the place altogether. She's uncomfortable with the ambiguity." "Monica's uncomfortable." "Dad, she's my wife. And honestly, she's got a point. We can't keep investing in a property we don't technically have any claim to." What if you decide to sell it? What if something happens to you and Emma gets half in the will? We'd lose everything we've put into it. I stood up from my chair, needing to move. So this is about protecting your investment in renovations I never asked for. In a house I'm letting you use for free. We're not using it for free if we're paying for everything. I pay the property taxes, James. Almost $8,000 a year, and we've spent $30,000 on improvements. The number hung in the air between us. $30,000 on a house they didn't own. Something wasn't adding up. I need to think about this, I said finally. Dad, Monica needs an answer. We've got contractors lined up for next month to redo the master bathroom. If we're going forward, we need to know. I'll call you back. I hung up before he could respond. For the next hour, I sat there, mind racing. Something felt wrong about this whole conversation. James wasn't usually this pushy. And Monica, I'd always gotten along fine with Monica, but lately, she'd been distant. Hadn't returned my calls the last few times I'd tried to reach her. Claimed she was swamped with design projects. At 9 p.m., my phone buzzed again. Emma. Did you talk to James? Yeah. And? He wants me to sign over the lake house. Says they've invested too much to not have ownership. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Dad, I need to tell you something, but you can't let James know it came from me. My stomach dropped. What is it? Last month, I was looking for a cabin rental for my anniversary trip with Mark. You know, something on a lake, romantic, the whole thing. I was scrolling through Airbnb, and she took a breath. I found your lake house listed. The world tilted. What? It's listed as Luxury Lake Champlain Retreat. $350 a night. Minimum 3-night stay. The photos are all Monica's design work. She staged it beautifully. I'll give her that. But Dad, it's your house. They've been renting it out. I couldn't speak. Couldn't breathe. Emma continued, her voice shaking now. I went through the reviews. They've been doing this for at least 2 years. The earliest review is from August 2 years ago. Dad, they've been running a vacation rental business out of your property. 2 years. $350 a night. 3-night minimums. I did the math in my head. Even if they only booked it half the weekends in a year, that was... God, that was over $30,000 per year. Are you sure? The question was stupid. Of course she was sure. I took screenshots. I'll send them to you right now. My phone dinged. Image after image appeared on my screen. There was my lake house, my beautiful cabin, with Sarah's wind chimes still hanging on the porch, marketed as a designer's retreat. The interior shots showed expensive furniture I'd never seen. Fancy throw pillows, artsy photographs on the walls. The kitchen had indeed been renovated, new appliances, marble countertops, designer hardware. The listing boasted about luxurious amenities, chef's kitchen, and peaceful family getaway. The reviews were glowing. Perfect weekend escape. Monica was a wonderful host, super responsive, and the place was immaculate. Can't wait to come back next summer. Monica. They were using her name as the host. Of course they were. It couldn't be traced back to me. I wasn't on Airbnb. I'd never see the listing unless I was specifically looking for it. Dad? Emma's voice was small. What are you going to do? What was I going to do? My son, who I'd helped through law school, who I'd co-signed his first apartment lease for, who I'd given the keys to my most precious property, had been running a commercial rental operation behind my back for 2 years. And now he had the audacity to ask me to sign over the deed. I need to see this for myself, I said quietly. See what? I'm driving up to the lake house this weekend. Dad, what if they're there? They won't be. James just told me they're hosting Monica's parents this weekend at their place in the city. He mentioned it at the end of our call. Said, that's why Monica was so stressed about resolving the lake house situation. I could hear Emma thinking, want me to come with you? No, I need to do this alone. Be careful, Dad. After we hung up, I sat in the dark living room for a long time. Sarah's picture smiled at me from the mantel, that photo from our 20th anniversary at the lake house. Both of us sunburned and happy, holding up a string of bass I'd caught. She'd been so proud of that place. She'd chosen every paint color, every piece of original furniture, every curtain. And now it was a business, a commodity, a luxury retreat. I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I went through my files and found all the documentation for the lake house, the original deed in my name, the property tax records, paid by me every year, the insurance policy, paid by me, the mortgage, which I'd paid off 3 years ago. Everything was mine, legally, clearly, undeniably mine. James had no claim, none whatsoever. Friday morning, I loaded my truck and started the 3-hour drive north. I didn't tell James I was coming, didn't tell anyone except Emma, who made me promise to text her when I got there safely. The lake house sat at the end of a long gravel drive, surrounded by pine trees and overlooking the water. As I pulled up, my heart sank. Emma was right, the place had been transformed. New landscaping lined the driveway. The deck had been expanded. There were expensive-looking Adirondack chairs, arranged artfully around a new fire pit. I used my key to open the front door. The interior made me stop in my tracks. This wasn't my cabin anymore. The old leather couch where Sarah and I had watched storms roll across the lake was gone, replaced by a modern sectional in white linen. The walls had been painted from warm honey to cool gray. The dining table where we'd played cards with the kids was gone now. There was a sleek glass table with designer chairs. Every trace of Sarah, every memory, had been erased and replaced with something from a home decor magazine. I walked through the rooms in a daze. The kitchen renovation must have cost $15,000 alone. The bathrooms had heated floors now. The master bedroom had a king bed with a padded headboard and hotel-quality linens. On the dresser, I found a leather binder. I opened it. Welcome to your Lake Champlain retreat. The first page greeted guests with Monica's professional headshot. Inside were instructions, Wi-Fi password, local restaurant recommendations, checkout procedures. There was a note about respecting the space and leaving it as you found it. A section on additional services available, stocked fridge for an extra fee, firewood bundles, kayak rentals. They turned my home into a hotel. I took pictures of everything, the binder, the renovations, the business cards I found in a drawer, lake house retreats, managed by Monica Fletcher, design. Then I sat on the deck, and called my attorney. Tom Patterson had handled my estate planning after Sarah died. He listened to everything without interrupting. "Richard," he said finally, "what they're doing is illegal on multiple levels. Operating a short-term rental without your permission, collecting income from your property, not reporting that income in your name since you're the owner. The tax implications alone are staggering. And if they've been doing this for 2 years, what are my options? Legally, you can have them evicted. You can sue for damages. You can report them to the IRS for tax fraud. You can file a police report for theft of services." He paused. "But Richard, this is your son. I know who it is. What do you want to accomplish here?" What did I want? Justice? Revenge? My house back? My son back? "I want the truth," I said. "I want to know why. Then confront them. But do it smart. Document everything first. I'll draft a letter outlining the legal violations. That way, you have leverage." I spent the rest of the day documenting. I took photos of every room, every upgrade, every piece of evidence. I found receipts in Monica's office, desk furniture purchases, staging costs, advertising expenses. I logged into the Wi-Fi and found the Airbnb account still active on a tablet left behind. I scrolled through the booking calendar. They had guests coming tomorrow. Someone named Patricia had paid $1,200 for a 3-night stay. I sent Patricia a message through the platform. "I apologize, but this property is no longer available for rent. Your reservation has been canceled, and you will receive a full refund. The listing should not have been active." Then I changed all the door codes. I called the property management company that handled the key exchange and canceled their access. I called my insurance company and confirmed that commercial use would void my policy. They'd been operating without coverage for 2 years. By Sunday evening, I was back home with a thick folder of evidence and Tom's legal letter in my email. Monday morning, I forwarded the letter to James. The subject line read, "Immediate cessation of unauthorized business activities." The letter detailed everything: the Airbnb listing, the estimated income, the tax implications, the insurance violations, the conversion of my property without permission. It gave James and Monica 72 hours to remove all their belongings, return all keys, and provide a full accounting of income generated. The final paragraph read, "Failure to comply will result in immediate legal action, including but not limited to eviction, lawsuit for damages and unjust enrichment, report to IRS for tax fraud, and criminal complaint for theft of services." My phone rang 6 minutes later. "Dad, what the hell is this?" James's voice was panicked, nothing like the smooth attorney from last week. "It's exactly what it says. A cease and desist. You're threatening to sue me? Your own son? I'm responding to you stealing from me. Your own father. We didn't steal. You've been running a business on my property for 2 years without my knowledge or permission. You've collected what I estimate to be $60,000 in income that legally belongs to me. You've put me at massive tax and insurance liability. And then you had the balls to ask me to sign over the house to you." My voice was shaking now. "So yes, James, we're well past family courtesy at this point. Dad, let me explain. Did you rent out my lake house on Airbnb?" Silence. "Yes or no, James?" "Yes, but did you tell me you were doing this?" "No, but Dad, you need to understand. Did you report this income to the IRS?" Some of it. Some of it. Dad, please. If you'd just listen." "I'm listening. Explain to me why I shouldn't report you for tax fraud right now." "Because Monica's pregnant?" The words hit me like cold water. I sat down hard on my couch. "What? She's pregnant. 3 months. We haven't told anyone yet because—" He exhaled shakily. "Because we're not sure we can afford another kid. Dylan's childcare alone is killing us. My student loans are brutal. Monica's design business is competitive. We needed extra income, and the lake house was just sitting there. And we thought, you thought you'd build a business on my property and not tell me. We were going to tell you. We were going to offer to buy it from you eventually. We've been saving the rental income as a down payment. Dad, we've got almost $47,000 saved. We were so close. $47,000. They'd made even more than I estimated. James, do you understand what you've done? Setting aside the betrayal, setting aside the lying, you exposed me to massive liability. If someone had gotten hurt at that property, I'd be sued. If the IRS audited me, I'd be on the hook for taxes on income I never saw. You put me at risk to make a profit. I know, Dad, and I'm sorry. God, I'm so sorry." His voice cracked. Monica kept saying, "We should tell you, but I thought you'd say no. I thought you'd think it was disrespectful to Sarah's memory or something." And then it just went on too long. We got in too deep. You asked me to sign over the house. That was Monica's idea. She's terrified you're going to find out and kick us out. And we've invested so much, and with the baby coming. He was crying now. I could hear it. "Dad, we screwed up. We screwed up so bad. But please, please don't report us. The tax penalties alone would bankrupt us. I could lose my law license." I closed my eyes. Part of me, the angry, betrayed part, wanted to push forward, wanted consequences, wanted justice. But this was my son who'd made a terrible, selfish, stupid choice. My son who was about to have another child, my future grandchild. "I want every penny," I said quietly. "Every single dollar you made from renting my property. In my account by the end of the month. Yes, absolutely. I want a formal agreement that you will never, ever use that property for commercial purposes again. Tom will draft it. You'll sign it. Of course. And James?" I waited until I heard him breathing on the other end. "You're going to tell Monica to call me herself. Not text, call, and apologize. And then you're both going to come have dinner with me next Sunday, and we're going to talk about this like adults. No lawyers, no letters. Just family. Dad, I'm not done. You're also going to sit down with me and figure out how to file amended tax returns for the past 2 years. I'll help you pay the penalties, because I don't want my grandchildren's father in legal trouble. But you're going to own this mistake. You're going to fix it. Understood?" "Yes, sir. And one more thing. Anything You're going to help me restore that house to how it was. Sarah's couch is in storage, isn't it? Yes. We couldn't bear to throw it away. Good. We're bringing it back. Every paint color, every piece of furniture, every single thing that made that place ours. You're going to help me undo what you did. He was openly sobbing now. Thank you, Dad, thank you. I don't deserve... No, you don't. But that's what family means. It means I love you even when you're an idiot. It means I help you fix your mistakes even when I want to throttle you. I took a breath. But James, if you ever lie to me like this again, we're done. Clear? Crystal clear. Now go tell your wife to call me. Monica called 20 minutes later, crying so hard I could barely understand her. She apologized, probably 50 times. Explained that the rental income had been her idea. She'd been trying to prove her design business could generate revenue, and the lake house was such good marketing for her portfolio. She'd gotten carried away. She'd convinced James it was fine. She knew it was wrong. I ruined everything, she whispered. Your house, your trust, your relationship with James. Monica, I said, surprising myself with how calm I sounded. You made a bad choice. A really bad choice. But you didn't ruin everything. We're going to fix this. How? By being honest from now on. By making things right. And by you and James learning that shortcuts always cost more in the long run. That Sunday, they came for dinner. Dylan was with Monica's parents. This conversation was for adults only. We sat in my dining room, the same room where I'd told James his mother had died 4 years ago. The same room where we'd celebrated his law school graduation. The same room where Sarah had taught him to play chess. James brought a check for $47,612. Every cent they'd made. There's more we need to discuss, Tom had told me earlier. The renovations they made increased the property value. Legally, you could argue they have some claim to that increase. I'd thought about that. Thought about the cold, legal approach. Thought about what Sarah would say. That night at dinner, I slid the check back across the table. Dad? James stared at it, confused. That money's for Dylan and the new baby. Put it in a college fund. Don't touch it for anything else. Monica gasped. Richard, we can't. You can. Consider it a gift from their grandfather. But there are conditions. I pulled out papers Tom had prepared. These are the amended tax returns. You're filing them. You're paying the penalties. But I'm giving you an interest-free loan for that amount. You'll pay me back over 5 years. $200 a month. Can you manage that? James nodded, looking dazed. Second condition. The lake house goes into a family trust when I die. Emma and James split it 50-50. But you don't rent it. Ever. It's for family use only. Those terms are ironclad. Dad, that's more than fair. I'm not finished. Third condition. Monica's design work genuinely did improve the property. When I'm ready to sell, which won't be for years, but when I do, Monica gets 10% of the profit as recognition for her improvements. But only if, between now and then, you both prove you've learned something from this. Monica was crying again. I don't deserve this. Maybe not. But my grandchildren deserve a family that isn't torn apart by legal battles and resentment. So, we're going to choose forgiveness. We're going to choose trust. But we're going to rebuild that trust slowly, with honesty and respect. James reached across the table and grabbed my hand. I'll spend the rest of my life making this up to you. I don't want you spending your life making anything up. I want you spending your life being better. For your kids, for Monica, for yourself. We spent the next 3 hours talking, really talking, about money, stress, about pressure, about the temptation to cut corners, about how Sarah would have handled this. Monica told me she'd been raised in a family where money was tight and shortcuts were survival. James admitted he'd been too proud to ask for help, too embarrassed to admit his financial anxiety. Next time, I told them, you ask. Even if I say no, you ask. That's what family does. Over the next few months, we drove up to the lake house together, all of us, including Dylan. We moved Sarah's couch back in, repainted the walls honey gold, hung her wind chimes back on the porch. Monica, to her credit, worked harder than anyone. She carefully stored the expensive furniture she'd bought, planning to use it in client projects. "I want to earn back your trust," she told me one afternoon as we were hanging photos of Sarah back on the walls. "I want Dylan and the new baby to know their grandfather as someone who showed their parents grace when they didn't deserve it." "You're earning it," I said simply. Emma came up one weekend too, with Mark. The four of us, James, Emma, Monica, and I, sat on the deck like we used to. Dylan played at the water's edge. Emma's hand rested on her own small baby bump, though she hadn't told her brother yet. "Remember when we were kids?" James said quietly. "And Mom made us promise we'd always take care of each other?" Emma nodded. "Even when it's hard." "Especially when it's hard," I added. 6 months later, on a crisp October morning, Monica gave birth to a baby girl. They named her Sarah. When I held my new granddaughter for the first time, James pulled me aside in the hospital hallway. "Dad, I need you to know something. Every night for the past 6 months, Monica and I have talked about what we did, about how close we came to destroying everything. And I'm grateful, so grateful, that you gave us a chance to make it right." "You're my son," I said. "That's what fathers do." "No," he shook his head. "That's what good fathers do. What great fathers do. Most people would have cut us off, would have sued, would have been justified in never speaking to us again. But you chose grace." I thought about that word, grace. Sarah had used it often. Grace isn't letting people off the hook. She'd tell me when I'd get frustrated with someone. It's giving them a rope to climb back up. "Your mother would have done the same," I told James. "Maybe with more yelling up front, but the same result." He laughed through tears. "Yeah, she would have torn me apart first." "Oh, I wanted to tear you apart." "I know. That's what makes the grace matter." Today, 3 years later, I'm sitting on that same deck at the lake house. Dylan is 9 now, teaching his little sister Sarah how to fish with the same patience his father once showed me. James and Monica are in the kitchen making dinner. Monica's blueberry pancakes, from Sarah's recipe. Emma and Mark's son, Tommy, is napping in the room that used to be James's childhood bedroom. The lake is calm. The wind chimes sing softly. And I can almost hear Sarah laughing, proud of the mess we made and the family we chose to remain. Someone's phone buzzes inside. James comes out, holding his cell with a strange expression. "Dad, did you know Emma listed the lake house on Airbnb?" My blood runs cold for just a second before I see the grin on his face. "Kidding. God, you should see your face." James Michael Fletcher. That's not funny. He sits down next to me, both of us watching the kids. Actually, it kind of is. Shows we've come a long way if we can joke about it. We have come a long way. "Can I ask you something?" His voice turned serious. "Why didn't you report us? Really, you could have. You should have." I think about that for a long moment. Because some mistakes are teachers, not endings. Because you're my son, and I decided your future was more important than my anger. Because, I pause, watching little Sarah squeal as she catches a tiny sunfish. Because that's what love looks like when it's tested. It looks like choosing the harder path, the longer conversation, the difficult forgiveness. You ever regret it? Not once, and I mean it. Looking at my family, complicated, flawed, human, I know I made the right choice, not the easy choice, not even the fair choice by strict accounting, but the right choice. Sarah's wind chimes sing in the breeze, and for a moment, I swear I can feel her hand on my shoulder. "You did good," she seems to whisper. "You did real good." Yeah, I think. Watching James show Dylan how to cast, we did good. All of us, together, we did good.